Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by the following supporters of WEIU.
Welcome to another edition of Panther Sports Talk right here on WIU. I'm your host, Rich Moser. We're joined by EIU head football coach Kim Dameron. And Coach, home stretch is what we're in right now. And at the start of the year, going down to Jacksonville State to play for a chance for the league title, that's exactly how you had it drawn up, right?
No question. We're exactly where we wanted to be. Obviously we took a little bit of a detour to get here, and we're excited about this opportunity, though. And the fact that if we can be successful down there and then be successful one more time, we can get a share of this, at least a share of the OVC championship. Now
the Panthers playing probably as well as anybody over the last 4 games, 4-0, and really have dominated their opponents. I mean, done a good job in all phases of the game.
We really have, and that was the focus. Every week is to just get better at what we do and not worry about who we play, and so those are things that we've just tried to focus on, and it's frustrating when you look back, that we dropped some games early. We felt like we could have won, should have won, especially the overtime loss at Eastern Kentucky. Kind of a self-inflicted type deal, but I think we've really grown up as a football team. We've grown up as an offense and a defense. I think the way our quarterback's playing right now is very efficient and just running this offense the way we envisioned that he would, and so we feel like we're in a good place right now.
Now, in the last 2 games in particular, we talked about last week how, because you had a convincing win against Tennessee Tech, you had some teachable moments that came away from that. You guys had turned it over a couple times, and you gave you something to kind of touch base on this week. Same thing kind of at Murray State in terms of special teams. You talked about it in the post game. The kid returns a kickoff for a touchdown. So when you have wins, I know there's little things like that you like to be able to kind of go in there and kind of keep the fire stoked during practice.
Yeah, I mean, a 100-yard kickoff return is not a little thing, but in every situation, in every game that we'll play, whether we win, we lose, whatever it may be, you always have things to correct. You always have things you have to teach, and it's a lot better to do that after a win, obviously, but it's something that each week we feel like that we go out and we play. We're playing good football teams. I mean, it's not like the rest of the league is just not very good. I mean, they are. They've beaten people. We feel like we've beaten some quality opponents, and so every game you have those things that you have to correct.
Now, over the last couple of weeks, one of the other things that you guys have done extremely well is, I guess, use the phrase next man up. And I say that in the fact that you've had a guy in a different position kind of go down either in a game or during practice, and essentially the next guy has had to step up. This past week, one on both sides of the ball. Charlie Haynes came in and played a heck of a game.
He did.
Playing in there at center for Nick Borey. And on the other side, I didn't even notice it for a while, but Pono Choi didn't play. Nursing a little bit in. Darnell Lee stepped in there and did a great job as well.
When you look at it, I mean, Charlie Haynes played 102 snaps out of the 104 snaps that we had, and which 104 snaps, a lot of plays. If you'd have told me that our offense one game would have 104 snaps, really? But he played and played well. There was not one snap problem that we had. Couldn't be more proud of his performance. And he was a young man that was a walk-on here, and we've put him on a little bit of aid because of the things that he had done. But for the most part, he's a backup guy that came in. He did his job, and couldn't be more proud of him. And then Darnell Lee has played quite a bit since really SEMO, because Pono's been in and out of the lineup. And of course we lost Bradley Dewberry against Ohio 5 weeks ago. And so Darnell Lee is a young man who was playing on some special teams and stuff. But Darnell Lee was a walk-on wide receiver when I first got here. He was a walk-on wideout that was in our winter program and has become a guy that we moved to defense. We actually moved him to corner because we didn't know if we had any corners. And then and he ends up now he's playing safety, and he starts a football game for us to go and stay in the conference race. So you never know, and that's the thing that I tell these guys all the time. You never know when your chance is going to come. And so we try to remember there's two things. One, we coach them all, just like we coach the guys who maybe the third guy at a position the same way that we coach the starters. And the other thing is, they don't know, when their time's going to come, but eventually it's going to happen. And when you do, be ready.
Now, the other guy who fell into that mix, and it's a little different for him, is Taylor Duncan. Really had to carry more of the load than he probably maybe in the game plan you had planned for him, but he was carrying it so well the last 2 weeks. Shepard Little looked like kind of maybe a little cramp or something like that. Kind of went down like we talked about it afterwards. Looked like he got shot in an open field if you're out there hunting.
I was looking for snipers. I was hoping I wasn't next. But, those things happen. And it's great when you have depth, especially experienced depth. But, Taylor Duncan was going to get, his carries. And, because we want, right now we've got 3 of the top 10 rushers in the conference. Of course, Jacksonville State has 4, but that's another issue. But we've got 3 of the top 10 in the league with, Shep and Jalen and TD. And for him to come in and rush the ball 30 times for 170 yards, what a great day for him. And, obviously disappointed for Shep that he didn't get to play as much. But, nothing changed. It just, he went in, he did his job.
Now, the guy who looks the most comfortable in the offense, and we knew this was going to kind of come, is Jalen Whitlow. He's really settled in. We've talked about it week in, week out in terms that he knows he's the starter and feels more comfortable getting more of the number 1 reps, or probably all the number 1 reps in practice nowadays. And he's really seems like he's got a firm grasp of the offense. And we talked about he's done a better job in trusting the offensive line and the fact that he'll stay in there and try to pass a little bit more now or look for the pass, as opposed to earlier in the year I thought he was – as soon as something broke down, he kind of got shell-shocked and would run.
Well, that's his nature. When you're athletic as he is, and you know that you can go make plays with your feet, if you're not quite sure just yet because you haven't had the reps to understand what exactly is supposed to happen, or if something breaks down or something like that, you have a tendency to default to that because that's been successful for you in the past. What he's doing is, like you said, he's trusting the receivers more. He's trusting the offensive line more. He's trusting himself more in his ability to read coverage, find the right place to go with the football. And it also helps when you got a guy like Adam Drake and Anthony Taylor and Bravo Brown and Lee Pack and, those guys, when he throws it, he knows they're going to come down with it. He has just done a much better job of, and it's reps, it's trust, but I think the biggest thing is with him is just like you said, he's now comfortable with what he's doing.
Now we turn our focus to the big game. I know that's what people are going to want to know. That's what the talk about is going to be all week. It really started right after the game there on Saturday. You had found out right after the game that Jacksonville State had beaten Eastern Kentucky, which allowed you then to still be alive in terms of if you went out, you win the FCS playoff. I guess the question is I guess you're fortunate in a first-year head coach that you have a very veteran team that has kind of been here before.
That's right.
And I guess the mood of the team is probably like continue to go about our business that we plan to be here.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that I was talking about earlier. On the conference teleconference show with all the other coaches and listening to them. One of the things that I told the guys on Sunday was, you guys have done this twice in the last 2 years. This is nothing new to you. As coaches at different places, we've all won championships and we've done this. So really as a team, we should be the most experienced and the most sure of what the atmosphere and what it's going to take to do this. We're going to have to go on the road to do it, and then we're going to have to come home and do it again. But we've been doing that for 4 weeks. And so, I just, like I said, these guys are going to focus on preparation. We're going to focus on getting healthy this week. We're going to try to be the freshest team that we can possibly be. And we're going to let experienced players who have won 2 conference championships go try to win the third.
Now, one of the things that Jacksonville State does extremely well, you already mentioned it, is they run the ball. They've got 4 of the top 10 rushers in the conference. That was one of the things Eastern was able to do last year, is they jumped up on them early and made them try to change their focus. I mean, that'd be great if that would happen again, but I guess you're really preparing the team that this is going to be a neck-and-neck battle, very much like Eastern Kentucky.
I've got to believe it's going to be a 60-minute slugfest. You got 2 really good teams, very physical teams that run the football, that can throw it, defenses that haven't given up a whole lot in the conference. When you look at the statistics and all that, I mean, it's going to be a heck of a football game. I'm glad, if I wasn't coaching in it, I'd be watching it. But it's something that we're extremely excited about, this opportunity. We feel like we're ready for this opportunity, and we can't wait to get there. Some of the kids were saying, man, I wish we could get on the plane right now and go down there. And I said, well, we need a great week of preparation, and we need to heal up. That's the biggest thing, is we've got to get healthy within this week, and then we've got to get to know this opponent extremely well.
Now, when you talk about Jacksonville State, earlier in the year, they started with essentially a 3-quarterback system. Eli Jennings, they had Max Shortell, and they brought another kid, I think Christian LeMay, in. It seems like they have focused more on Jenkins the last couple weeks. Is that kind of, I guess, what you guys have seen on film and allow you to game plan a little bit more for that heavily as opposed to the 3-quarterback system?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've they're and a lot like us, they've kind of become and figured out what their true identity is and what they feel best and most comfortable doing. Eli is a heck of a player, and but they have played 2 quarterbacks. But I look to see Jenkins much more than anybody else, and our defensive staff, they'll have a plan for both. But for the most part, I think what we've got to prepare for is the dual threat quarterback that is runs all the option game, the run game, and the play action game, and all that. So very similar to what we do.
Now, as a defensive coach, I know you'll like to hear this. Most of the accolades have been about the offenses. Both of the 2 teams are in the top 10 in the country in total offense. But when you start to look deeper into the numbers, the success of both teams has been the fact that they've been solid on defense. We've talked about Eastern week in, week out. Jacksonville State, when I'm looking at the numbers, they're a lot better than people think against the run, and I think that's going to be really one of the focuses today, is who can win the battle in the trenches.
Yeah, it's always that way. I mean, and it doesn't matter who you play. I mean, it's just like last week with Murray State. We felt like if they couldn't run it, we had to make them one-dimensional defensively. That's a focus every week. We have to be able to stop the run. Actually, what you have to be able to do in this kind of game, they're going to make some yards. We're going to make some yards. We can't make the big mistakes and give up or have penalties and keep drives alive or stifle drives, or those are the things that you just want to stay, do what you do and do it the best you can do it and try to stay away from the mistakes. And it's like football hadn't changed in 100 years. The team that makes the fewest mistakes is probably going to win. The team that can control the line of scrimmage the best is probably going to win. And the one that, and here's a big one, is the turnover battle. If you look at the stats, we're close defensively, we're close offensively. We're both the top 2 teams in the conference in conference play in turnover margin. We don't turn it over a ton. We get turnovers on defense. Though that's basically the gist of this game. And I think you're going to see 2 really good football teams try to go in and do similar things. And we'll just see, on these kinds of games, 1 or 2 plays can turn the tide. And so we just got to make sure that we're playing our best on every play.
All right, Coach, best of luck down there. Reminder, the game will be at 3 o'clock. It'll be on the Panther Football Radio Network. 2:30 will be the pregame show. The game will also be broadcast on ESPN3. One of the key factors Coach just talked about, the defense. We're going to have a feature on the EIU linebacking core. That'll be up here at the end of the show. But right now, we'll be right back with This Week in EIU Athletics.
Panther fans, here's what's going on in Panther athletics. Panther football won their 4th straight game, 48-26 against Murray State at O'Brien Field this past Saturday. The Panthers are now 5-5 on the season and 5-1 in OVC play. Volleyball won both of their OVC matches at Lance Arena this past weekend. They swept both Eastern Kentucky and Morehead State. EIU is now 13-14 overall and 7-7 in OVC play. On Tuesday of this week, prior to the airing of this show, the Panthers were at OVC rival SIUE. For the result and stats of that match, check out EIUPanthers.com. Men's soccer concluded their season this past week with losses to SIU Edwardsville and Oral Roberts. EIU finishes the season 3-13-1 overall and 1-4-1 in Summit League play. Women's rugby won their second in a row, 37-0 at Notre Dame. The Panthers are now 3-4 on the season. Swimming was back in action at Padovan Pool, and both men's and women's teams dropped matches to Ball State. The men lost 151-111, and the women lost 165-97. Men's basketball played their lone exhibition game on their 2014-2015 schedule against St. Francis, Illinois on Monday night at Lance Arena. For the results and stats of that game, check out EIUPanthers.com. And now, here's what to watch for this week. On Friday, cross country is in Peoria for the NCAA Midwest Regional. Men's basketball tips off a new season. EIU is at Missouri State with a 7:05 p.m. tip. You can listen to the game on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU. On Saturday, swimming hosts Valparaiso at Padovan Pool in Lance Arena at 11 in the morning. Volleyball with their regular season finale at OVC rival Tennessee State at 2 p.m. Women's basketball gets their season underway as they welcome Missouri Kansas City to Lance Arena at 2 p.m. You can listen to the game on EIUodyssey.com. And Panther football with a showdown at Jacksonville State for first place in the OVC at 3 p.m. You can listen to the game on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU, or you can watch it on ESPN3. And as of Monday this week, women's rugby with a rescheduled match with Life University to be played either on Saturday or Sunday at Lakeside Field. Check EIUPanthers.com for the official match day and game time. On Monday, men's basketball with their home opener at Lance Arena against Eureka College at 7 p.m. You can listen to the game on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU. And next Tuesday, November 18th, women's basketball is at IUPUI at 6 p.m. You can listen to that game on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU. Reporting for Panther Sports Talk, I'm Brad Kupiak.
And a handoff to Cobb, hit hard and dropped behind the line. Robert Haynes came bursting through the right side of the Minnesota offensive line, and he rocked Cobb's world. Here's Leitner, back to pass, sets up, throws over the middle, short pass, knocked away and nearly intercepted. Making the play for Eastern was Adam Gristick over the middle on a short pass intended for Logan Hutton. It'll be fourth down. Good defensive play by Gristick.
A new head coach and a new defensive system mean new positions for EIU senior linebackers Adam Gristick and Robert Haynes, but they both say they're fine with the changes, and they're making a major impact in their final year.
It's a big difference as far as the mindset of the two coaches, like you just said. But I like the new coaches a lot. Of course, I'm a defensive guy, so I don't mind the change at all. But I have nothing bad to say about Coach Babers. I love playing under him. We had some good times, but I love where I'm at right now. I love the coaches I'm playing for.
It's weird that you come to a place and you see 3 different head coaches, but I knew coming here that Coach Boo, he's down to his later years, so I figured I'd get another coach, but I never figured I'd get 3.
As a staff, you're trying to fit your scheme to your personnel, and that's what we had to do. Our personnel, to get the best 11 on the field, our scheme is allowing that now, and that's what worked. We got 3 linebackers on the field, and they're all very different positions, doing very different things, working for the skills that each one of those guys have, and we hone in on that.
I've never heard of the Wolf before. I've only heard of middle linebackers, Sam and Will, so when they brought in the system, and I was playing Mike at the spring, and then some stuff happened. We had to move it around to get the best players on the field. It was a challenge at the beginning because I always wanted to rush upfield. It was a defensive end. It's basically a defensive end hybrid linebacker position. So I wanted to rush upfield all the time and get the quarterback. When you can't do that, you have to be disciplined. So it was a major change from middle to going to Wolf, but I like the position I'm in. It's a lot more blitzing, a lot more opportunities to make plays behind the backfields.
Now he goes in motion to the right. They hand it to him. No, they don't, and they sack Ionati. He faked the handoff to Willis, and by that time, Robert Haynes was right in his lap and sacked him for about a 10-yard loss.
It's a hybrid defensive end outside linebacker, which very, very, very much fits into a 3-4 type defense, and that's what he is. And so he's very versatile. Sometimes we'll slide him back as an inside linebacker. Sometimes we'll take him to the field or keep him to the boundary. And what we do is try to get him in the best situation to make a football play, because he's a 240-pound, fast, hard-nosed football player who is as aggressive of a football player as I've ever been around. So, like you said, hard-hitting, explosive, all those things are true, and he does that so well. So we're putting him in different situations. He's hit the A gap, the B gap, C gap, and D gap this year, and we've taken it from all across the field because of his ability. We get him to where he can make plays.
I think the defense we play, I mean, because we were all recruited into a 4-3 defense, so the 4-2-5 is a little different. So we're kind of all a little out of position, but we made it work. And I think for me, I like where I'm at, and I know he like where he's at too.
In the summertime, that the fact that we were allowed, NCAA allowed us to meet with those guys more. I mean, that was a tremendous advantage for us because of how much we really put on them. I promise you, there's not another linebacker core in the country at any level that has as much on them as these guys do. They have a full plate of football to learn, and they do a really good job. They can tell you what's going on behind them. They can tell you what's going on in front of them, and it's because, not necessarily because they're so smart, because they are intelligent human beings, but it's because they care. They work hard at it. They study it. We spend a lot of time just teaching them what's going on, and I teach them very holistically so that they can understand why they're doing what they're doing, not just the job, but why they're doing their job.
While the linebacking core is solid top to bottom, linebackers coach Michael Hodges said Gristick and Haynes are leaders on and off the field.
Well, they're different. They're very different types of leaders. One of them, Rob is a little bit quieter, lead by example. Grizz will also lead by example, but he'll also speak up. He'll be sooner to speak up. Now, Rob, when he does speak, I promise you, the room gets quiet. Nobody wants to talk back when Rob's talking. And so those two guys kind of play off of each other because they're very different. But as far as guys looking up to them, they've set a standard and they've set this bar so high that it's made it easy and makes us really feel good about where we're going because the bar is set so high. We don't have to deal with those guys with anything besides, hey, look, in this scheme, this is what you're doing. Okay, if there's something going on off the field, I need you to go handle it. They go handle it, so I don't have to. So they've really, it's their team. When I showed up here and I told them, I got in the linebacker room, I said, look, it's your identity. Whatever you guys want, we'll roll with. I don't want to have to run this room. I want to teach and let you guys play.
I formation. Roberson, handoff straight ahead, and this is Lewis in the running back, and Eastern tackled him for a short loss on the play.
Adam, his best thing is his intangibles. He's a leader. I mean, he absolutely, if there's somebody that's going to snap somebody in line, it's him, and he does a great job of that. But as far as his athletic ability, that's not how he's good. It's not. It's his studying. It's his focus on what's going to happen and his preparation for each week. And he really is just really sound in everything that he does and executes well for us. We need somebody who can handle what we put on him. And as linebackers, all three positions are extremely heavy as far as football knowledge goes. And so we need him to handle that. And so someone that can devote time to that and really learn and then be able to verbalize it because there's so much communication that he has to do on the field.
I like to say I play hard. I think that's one of my best assets. I'm not the best athlete, but I know that every time I go on the field, I'm going to be giving 100% and I'm going to play my tail off.
I try to be physical on all plays. Sometimes it hurts me trying to be physical, but I try to bring that mentality of bringing the punch to someone else, being that physical presence out there on the field. And I like my quickness too. I think I'm pretty quick for my size.
It's awesome, man. Playing next to a kid like that is, you don't want anyone else next to you because I know he's going to be playing just as hard as me, and there ain't nobody more physical than him out there, so it's great.
It's been fun. Me and Grizz, I can say a lot about Gristick. The one thing I can say is he's a fighter. He's not the most talented guy. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. But if I had to take someone out there to play with me each and every game, I would pick him first.
When Babers came in, he really changed his program around, and we'd like to leave as seniors on. We'd like to see keep this program going, just keep going to the top and keep winning conference championships, and hopefully one day win a national championship.
Like, it's tremendous help having him and also Kamu out there. Both of them are smart. Both of them know the scheme. Our coach, he's a great teacher. I love playing for him. He sits us down, he teaches us the scheme, and he played before, so he understands like what we're going through and if we're having a hard time grasping something because it might be hard. So he takes time and teaches us the right ways.
Kamu is one of the best athletes I've seen play linebacker here for a while. Seth McDonald is a young kid behind me who's a lot of potential, who's a walk-on here, earned a scholarship. And I think he could be a great player one day when here. And there's a lot of young kids that are going to be you're going to see them make an impact next year.
They've both said at times, look, Coach, we are not going to let this season be a 2-10 season. It will not happen. And so that's, and like I said, it's their room. What they say is what we do. I just kind of push in different directions. and it was their identity to say, look, our legacy is that we're going to figure out whatever issues that we had, and we're going to win out. And so that's our goal, and hope to keep winning and play in January.
Reporting for Panther Sports Talk, I'm Brad Kupiak.
Handoff up the middle, Little, good hole left side, bounced it out, room the motor at the 20, to the 15, to the 10, cuts back at the 5, touchdown for Shepard Little. Whitlow back to pass, they're blitzing him, he steps up, throws it over the middle, wide open Drake at the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Eastern Illinois. Handoff to Duncan, heading left, across the 15, to the 10, cut back at the 5, and he's over, touchdown Eastern Illinois. Whitlow back, some pressure up the middle, throwing it deep left corner for Drake, he's got it, touchdown Eastern Illinois. Adam Drake makes the catch in the end zone, his second touchdown today.
Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by the following supporters of WEIU.